Got the pen and the paper in your hand. Got the story going, but you wanted to expand. We'll help you on your journey, let us lend you a hand. Join the show. So let's write the book TV show. Grab your pen and paper and we're gonna let it flow. Talking about write the book TV. Join the show.
Welcome to Write the Book TV. I'm your host, Kimberly LeBlue. Last week, we were joined by the fathers from the book, The Black Father Perspective. The conversation got so good that we had to bring them back for a second show. And so, let's hop right back into the conversation.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So, Wayne, in your chapter, in the beginning of the chapter, you talked about the fact that your mother and father broke up at an early age for you. But even though your father didn't live in the home, he still had a huge impact on your thought process. You wrote about the block that you lived on being heavily influenced by drug use and drug sales. And so, well, you said he was the only reason that you were not consumed by your environment, your father. And so what was it that he did to ensure that that wouldn't be your fate?
He told me that you don't have to sell dope to be a hustler. So, my dad would, he would come through with big not money, like, the other. Mm-hmm. But he showed me what we would do is he'd take me out in the neighborhood and he would like, look at that money laying on the ground. It might be a branch, it might be high grass. So he saw the environment as an opportunity to make money. So that is like, that has huge impacted every area of my life. Anytime, like, my mother was like, it seemed like you could start a job, start a business today and be making money. I literally can start a business today and be making money tomorrow, because he just gave me that abundant eyesight where when people see problem, he sees, a problem.
That's money.
Right. And so that like every season you have an opportunity. As a kid, I always had money. Like, I always, even though that, everybody on my block, I still had a necklace. I still had nice clothes. My mother, she worked 2 jobs. She wasn't going to be paying for that stuff. Mm-hmm. So, him getting me on the weekends, taking me out, showing me, hey, listen, you don't have to sell dope to make money. And from that, it really shaped my life. It really, because most of my friends growing up, are either dead or locked up. And one of my best friends he got deported back to Jamaica, for trafficking drugs. So, that him showing me that, hey, he could call me that, like, making money, my main man, every second, because my father's 71, and he's still hustling like he's broke. My father's a millionaire twice. He lost it all, got it all back. So he worked, been at NSA for about 40 some years. Okay, so he got the job when he was 18. So my father's been there for like 50 years. Wow. He retired, and then he got so much clearance he just come back. But he would always listen. Hustling, my main man. Like, I know he called me every Sunday. He's like, you good? You okay, my main man? There's plenty of money out there. Listen, you broke? I'm like, no, I'm not broke. Listen, there's plenty of money. So even that, if I ever got in the jam, with that ethic, if I got in the jam and I asked my father for some money, you messing your money up, he would give me a lawnmower. He would give you a lawnmower? He was so mad. It would make me so mad, right? Because I wanted some money, but he would give me, he was like, this is how God moves. This is how God, if you want a tree, if you want a chair, God give you a tree, you build it. He says that he would give me the tool to get it. So he's like, he's like, if I give it to you, then you're gonna have to keep coming back to get it. I'm gonna give you what you, so you never have to come. So he give me a lawnmower. He gave me a snow blower. He bought me a little pickup truck, a little junk truck for $1,000. Like, he can make $300 a day hustling trash. I've started like, that's actually how I got into like flipping houses. I would just hustle, throwing trash, get my capital together and go buy, a property. So teacher, you can't come to my father and tell him you broke. You like, your legs good, y'all. I like him.
Thank you. And so you talked in the book about the fact that you were married and divorced, and you said co-parenting is one of the most challenging parts about being a father. And I know one's seen a lot of men in that situation. And so what are some of the challenges? What have some of the challenges been, and how have you worked to overcome those challenges in your own relationship?
Well, big part is like everybody, I think that we all want the best, but ego gets in the way.
Yeah.
Right? And what you think is the best and what I think is the best are not necessarily the same. So for me, I've learned not to let my ego get in the way, right? Learn how to ask myself, say for example, with my ex-wife, what would I say to her if it was like I got female friends that's actually friends, and if a friend came to me and said this was going, what would I say to my friend? So I would learn to not take my ego out of it and respond differently, and learning how to listen, right? I learned how to respond instead of listening, or instead of listening to respond. I learned how to respond based off of the information that I want. I learned how to empathize with myself. So most of the time, especially with conversations with how things that I want to do with my daughter, and we disagree, I've learned how to disagree and not be angry. And how I want to say manipulate the situation by having an understanding, right? So like, okay, understand how you feel. All right, I felt this is something I'm going to say. Yes, I use that. Right? Understand how you feel. I felt this way before, and this is what I felt. This is what I found. And so at the end of the day, I think that we all want understanding, right?
Yeah.
And so even if I don't agree with you, I understand where you're coming from. And so that just allowed me to move a little bit different, because, and then I also have a child with another woman, and I know that we're on TV. I know that, right? You know what I mean? I know that. I know that. Just like understanding what my triggers are and what her triggers are, and I found that maybe I never really wanted to go through the courts. I never wanted, but I'm like, this is actually, I use it because there's a barrier of protection where I don't have to deal with certain things, right. And it's the best for the both of us, because at the end of the day, I want to see my daughter see her mother in a good light, and I want I want her to see me in a good light, and so we're at ends, right? And just to prove a point, hey, let's just use. If we're already in the system, right. Let me utilize it as a tool versus, you know what? I don't like the fact that I'm in it, but okay, let's do it. Let's do it, because it's made it a lot. Actually, it's made conversation. I don't have to have certain conversations anymore. So, sometimes fighting upstream is the hard work. Is you know what? I'm gonna go with this flow, and it actually, and it created a better way for me to communication wise, where it's stuff I don't have to do with it.
And so I also want to talk about, of course, your controversial statement that was in your chapter. Exactly. It shouldn't be controversial, but people call it controversial. When you talked about the fact that a woman, let me see how you put it. You said a single mom can raise a child, however, she cannot raise a man.
Yeah. Well, I stirred the pot on that. The reason being is that you said it, everybody said it, people don't do what you say, they do what you do, right? So if you can raise an amazing individual, right? You can raise, not saying that you can raise an amazing person, but we learn through this, with this form of knowledge. We have learned about learn knowledge, you have activity knowledge, you have modeling knowledge. You have to be able to model. That's why, like, okay, you go to school to become a doctor, you don't just gather the information. You got to go out there and go behind the doctor and model the behavior, right? We're so behavioral as creatures. So with that understanding, you have to model what a man is, and you're a woman. And you're like, what's wrong with acknowledging, hey, I'm a woman, I'm an ex, I can raise an amazing individual, right? But what's wrong with saying a boy needs to model a man? I don't think that's controversial. I think that's real. And anybody saying anything different, they're really just fooling themselves, because the reality that's your ego getting involved, and it's okay, But you got to acknowledge the fact that, hey, in order for a boy to be a man, he needs to model what it looks like.
Absolutely. I read something about that. It says that there are certain attributes that a woman can give to a child, but can't. But it's not like that a man can give to a child. See what I'm saying?
Right.
And the woman can't get a man's part, man can't get the woman's part. So that makes sense.
Right. Well, I actually agree.
I wanted to start following that a little bit because it creates a conversation.
Yes.
And I'm somebody that, just through this all, I consider myself personally developed. So even if you don't disagree with me, I would love to hear somebody's point. Let's hear your point. But at the same time, we always live in states of consciousness of what we don't know. And since I do a lot of studying of human behavior, I'm like, that's why I say you hang around you'll start to model their behavior just through osmosis, just by being around them. So it's like, if there's certain characteristics as a woman in your purest essence, you at your excellence, right? You being at your excellence, you still are not man, And so let's just there's a difference between equality and equity. Exactly, I'm saying? Like an orange is amazing, an apple is amazing. They're two different fruits, but they both bring something amazing to the table. Yeah. They're not supposed to be equal. They're supposed to bring something different, and we should embrace those things. I don't think that takes anything. My mom was amazing. My grandmother, amazing. Doesn't take anything away from me. Like this thing where saying this, you don't lack anything. I don't think that we lack. It's just acknowledging, hey, this is what a man brings to the table, and it's not anything less than what you bring to the table. I think that we should embrace it.
I agree. As a mother of two sons, I was like, don't tell me Happy Father's Day. They have a father, right? So that ridiculous conversation. But yeah, so I agree with all of that, and I recognize real quick that my boys needed male figures in their lives, and so mentors. They had a relationship with their father and just sought out different, places for them to be in where they could see manhood modeled. And so I do wholeheartedly agree. And so you are a girl dad. Yes. What is it that you want all Black girls to know?
I want them to know that the greatness is inside of them, not outside of them. Right? Yes. So, so much of the world tells them what they should do, be a path without acknowledging who they are first, right? Understanding that I'm amazing, and anything outside of that is an add-on. So just understanding self-confidence, I think that's a legacy that you get grounded in. You know God, you get a belief in God, get a foundation of God. When you see God within yourself, I feel like every little girl should have that, because that's going to ripple effect into your life. The world is going to tell you everything that you're not, and you need some foundation to really stand on.
That's good. That's very good. And so since we're talking about that, let's go back to you, Jonathan Sr. And so you wrote about too much church in your chapter.
Yeah.
Talk about too much church. You wrote a little bit about too much church. And so I just want you to talk about that and what impact it had on your family. Because I think you touched on it too a little bit in one of your other chapters as well.
Let me explain about me. He can vouch for it because he came too, because he was one of the big Praise Tabernacle. I love them with all my heart. But you left out one day because remember, Mother Hardy had that Monday Bible class.
I didn't know that.
Oh, okay. So it was Monday Bible class, by Mother Hardy, the pastor's mother. Then it was Tuesday. Got to break out. Got there. Then it was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and sometimes 3 times on Sunday.
Church 8 days a week.
And in church almost every one of those services.
Yeah.
And so doing that, it was good for me to get grounded in word.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have time to be father to my sons.
Right.
We didn't get to go to Little League baseball or whatever, or basketball, you know what I mean? Because I'm in church.
Yeah.
And so, I took my, I'm gonna tell a story. You gonna get embarrassed.
Uh-oh. Tell it.
That's right.
On TV. I started thinking about the trial for baseball one time. Okay.
Yeah.
This time break the monotony, make sure church, and he started guys swinging white. Can he not name my sport? Could hit the ball. So I said, touch my football. Okay, this got to be a sport. The quarterback, takes the snap and hands it off to the running back, and there was a hole there, and that guy hit that hole, but that linebacker come up in and cocked that guy so hard, boy, he said, "Dad, that ain't my sport."
What's next? What's on the next?
That's not it. Not the one. So, but it wasn't until I started, breaking away from going to church so much and spending more time with my sons that I finally found his niche, basketball. And I became one of his first coaches, down in Virginia. We coached and we won the championship that year.
Yeah.
But anyway, so although church is good, we have to be a balance between, church and family.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, here's my philosophy, and a lot of pastors is going to probably disagree with what I got to say, but my philosophy is God, my family, then the church.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the hierarchy in my mind. And you got to break down a little bit further. It's God, my wife, the kids, and then the church.
When you show the work.
So keep mama happy, because if mama ain't happy, ain't So that's what I meant by saying that, because it was about finding that balance between giving them a good biblical foundation, so they can make their own decisions about because my dad, we had those saying we was drugged. We was drugged in church. So we had to go to church. And I didn't want that to be an issue where they forced me to because dad said so.
Yeah.
I didn't have to go. But you can always stay by yourself, and I didn't make him go, But when they were young, of course, can't be by himself, he can't party home by himself.
Right.
So when they were young, but when they got older to know they can stay out, not burn the house down.
Right.
There you go.
So a little bit, I can relate to this. But my father was not a pastor. But you said too much church. I would say, for my situation, too much work. Because my father, at one point, I recall him having 3 jobs.
Right.
He was 9 to 5, then he was 6 to 10, then it was a couple hours overnight cleaning buildings.
Did that too?
And I, I remember those times where it was just like, man, when you gonna come home?
Right.
I didn't get to do the football thing. I didn't get karate, none of those things.
Right.
Because he wasn't around.
And that's the whole point.
But he wasn't around for a good reason.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't like he wasn't around because he didn't want to be around.
Right.
He was working to make sure that this group was good, that this home was good. There was food here and there was clothes there and everything else. And again, it took for me to be an adult to be able to appreciate that.
See, that's the thing with me, because in my mind, it's a good reason why I went there. Like I'm in church, I'm learning about God.
Yeah.
Because especially Mike, who's an ex-drug addict, I don't go back to that lifestyle.
Right.
So I'm going like, okay, this is a good thing for me, but I wasn't thinking about the family, and what the impact that it had on them. And so I learned that lesson, not just learn to balance it. So.
Yeah. And I think you brought up a good point about providing.
Yes.
So a lot of men have that perception that being a good parent equals providing.
Yeah.
And then kind of forget about time spent.
Yes.
Right.
So I'm glad that you brought that up.
Yeah.
But it's your turn now.
Tell it.
There you go.
Tell it.
Like off you from
Don't forget, I know where you live.
So you talked about the stellar example that you had from your mom and your dad that they set for you and your desire to repeat that in your own life. But then life started like that. Of course, you got married, marriage ended. How did that dynamic affect you mentally?
Oh. Mentally, I felt like I failed. Because my parents didn't have that issue. They worked it out.
Yeah.
But I could not, you know. And so then it's like that, it's that struggle with trying to keep that marriage going when the other party didn't want anything to do with it.
Right.
It's like, so now how do I, I'm praying, I'm fasting, I'm asking God to work it out. It's not working out. How long do I continue to fight? How do I continue to do this? And am I wrong for okay, it's not working out to divorce? Because like, if I do this, it's that teaching from day child and things like church like that you're not supposed to do this. This is not what you're supposed to do. This. You're supposed to da. So it's like you battle that and you try to figure it out. And finally, it's like came to the point where when we finally came to the decision that we were going to go separate ways. How do I bounce back from that? Because I've been with this woman for 15, 16 years, and nobody else.
Right.
So we got to figure it out. Am I worthy enough to be with somebody else? It's not going to look at me. When I get remarried again, if the church will look at me differently because I did that, because my mom and dad didn't divorce, I didn't have that conflict. I didn't know how to work through that. And I couldn't really talk to him about it because he never went through that. How could he explain to me? How could he heard?
I think how it was now. He did say that.
Yeah, you did, but I actually did. So now what do I do? So you battle that back and forth. And then it's like, how do you do with raising a kid? How do that? You're not in the home, like you used to. How do you talk through that? Because she had 3 kids. She had 2 daughters before. So it's like, you had, if you're gonna be honest, I had having those 2, it's like 5 kids, but I still treat them like my daughters in a sense. But so how you navigate that conversation, and then you want to be able to show that your kids can see that, all right, that you can still be close with their mom when you're not at the moment.
Yeah. I know Wayne touched on the split parenting part too. So how did that kind of play out? I mean, you're not going into too much detail, but how did that play out for you? Like, what challenges did you face in a split household, having a split household?
One of the things I had to deal with, first of all, being dealing with the ego part of myself. Not when I realized that, you know what, I had some wrong there too. And then I realized that how angry I was. And it wasn't until it was not that crazy. I was like, I'll go back to the time when we were still together and we get ready to separate. And I went to her and tried to talk to her and work it out. She didn't want to. I got to the point where I got mad. I went to her job, came out outside. I got so mad, I got angry with God. And I actually shook my fist.
Wow.
Thank God he gave me that little grace. To be that way. He said, grace. And then the Lord, he impressed upon me and said, listen, I give you that grace, that space to be that way. But listen, it's not, you got to look at yourself. There's something inside you need to deal with. Like, is everything that she was saying to you wrong, incorrectly, whatever? He said, no, there's some truth what she's saying, but she said it to me. I've been this thing a lot longer than she had as far as this thing with God.
Yeah.
But so how to navigate that was like the relationship was like, once I realized that I had something to do with inside me, I said, God, well, then God put this he put this in my spirit. He said, listen, he said, at one time, you used to care with this woman. She was your friend. That's why you chose to marry her. So you can't hold that against her because something didn't work out. You got to find a way to be that, at least be cordial with her because you got kids. But you'll still be interactive. We have a son and daughter together. We have to figure this out. So I had to figure it out. And so to this day, we actually, talk like conversation. Like, well, we do have conversations. We do, like, for the car, I help with, situations there with the kid. We had conversations like that. But it wasn't always that way. I had to really figure out how to deal with that. And then so my current wife was like whenever she would call, before I got to that point, like actually talking about ex-wife, I would get rattled. She's like, why are you getting so upset? My current wife, why are you getting so upset with her if she has no control of you? Wow. Okay, it's like, what are you talking about? now I'm arguing with her, and he had nothing to do with this. All right, so now I had to feel, okay, all right, you're right. Why am I letting this bother me? There's something inside of me that I had to deal with. And so that's when I came in the conversation. I need to be able to, there's something in me that I had to deal with. God, take this away from me. He revealed to me the anger that I have in my heart. And so, all right. So, but since then, I can talk. When she wants to get that, what changed for me with her was one conversation she called me up. Ex-wife that is, and she was talking into a way like kind of talking down to me. Now usually what gets me triggered, she's not getting my trigger. I said, listen, we're not gonna do this. We're gonna end this conversation, and we're gonna call. You can call me back when you're ready to talk like human being. We're gonna talk as adults. We're not going down that road again. You try to act brand new? Yes, I am.
Yeah.
But that was the last time we ever had that negative back and forth conversation. I said, it was that easy. I couldn't do that.
Right.
But you learn, right? So you learn that. So moving forward, that's how we deal with it now. So as far as the kids, we make sure we communicate with the kids, with each other. We're going with the kids to try to figure these things out, and I try when I need to help them out, whenever I can. So.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Our viewers are learning a whole lot.
Do I hear a Black Father's Volume 3 coming?
We're going to stick to the conversation. And so, I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about, so it's the Black father perspective, what we want America to know. And so, like I said, when I thought about this project, I really wanted for you all to have a voice about what it was like to be a Black father in America. And so I want to know what strategies have you used to teach your children about their heritage and their history?
Too deep for me.
Oh.
You take a stab at that?
Can I go first?
Sure.
No. I'm gonna tell you why. My oldest son, I've told people he was my college education. He became an extensive learner for me.
Wow.
And it seems as though with this generation, they're creating their new, almost like the Old Testament type of religion. Because if I don't see it. The scientific type of if I don't see it, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And he made a comment recently, within the last 6 months, 8 months, that slavery never existed.
Oh wow.
And
wow.
And this is true story. Slavery never existed. We were never. It was never happened. And this is the Juneteenth and all this stuff is going on. I said, son, I need you to go. First important, most important, giving honor to God who's in my life.
Let's start there.
Let's start there. Go read. That was the most important thing. I said the problem is this generation, they don't read. Everybody goes to church, TikTok church.
Yeah, there you go.
Everybody thinks that Google search, and they believe that whatever ideology they put in place about history, not only just Black history, but history period, it never existed. And I said, there are too many people that hung on trees for you to be ignorant in that thought. I said, there's so many people in the ground that for you to be that ignorant for that thought. And I said, and culture and society, and this is during the Trump era. I said, history is showing you right now that the systemic racism is real.
Yeah.
I said, and you got to look at the signs of the time. I said, there was things that you guys were allowed to do that the fathers before us would never.
Couldn't do.
And not that I don't oppose any type of relationship at all, But in those days, interracial relationships were
taboo.
never to be had. Emmett Till showed a prior report. You just allegedly whistled at somebody, and now we hear history about this individual that his life was taken because of quote unquote thought of a lie. I said, so son, I'm really, maybe as a father, I didn't do enough to show you that your history was important. I said, but now that we're here, and so he this is funny. Anybody know about geography? He works in Roanoke, Virginia. Okay. And Roanoke, Virginia is one of the major points of that valley that shows you great racist history. And he works for UPS. So the story itself is unfolding in front of him. Now he's getting upset talking about the cultural difference and everybody else. I said, son, welcome to Black history. So that's where we're at. And he's starting to learn now that maybe what he was saying was of ignorance. And he's starting to see that he's 21. When he was young, it didn't make sense. But now you're getting into adult, you start doing things different. I think he's starting to see the importance of recognizing that your culture, you're being black and brown, shows that you are different, and they're going to treat you as different. But you got to be better and educate yourself just beyond this moment. But when you get this age, you will make because it's a long way between 21 and near 50. You gotta make history. And you gotta make change.
But see, historically, I mean, like my dad grew up in the era with all that was going on with, so he shielded us from a lot of that stuff. You know what I mean? We never had to ride the back of the bus because my dad always had a car. We never had to do it. Other things that people do with different. Because he bought a house. So we lived in the house. And he kept us shielded. And I'm embarrassed to say this, but I had never heard of Martin Luther King Jr. until the day he got killed. And here's how I found about it. I went to school that day. And I'm about 15, 14 years old. I forget how long. Anyway, I went to school that day, and so I cut school. But now I knew I had to stay until the time to go home to school. They wouldn't know I cut school. So I goes home. Mom said, "Where you been at?" I said, "I've been at school." She said, "Boy, school's not 2 hours ago because my things are City on fire. I ain't see I'm like, oh, gee, I'm busted. When you don't know the history, you can't pass history on. That's my ignorance on my part. But I did read about some things, later on in life and share with the church folks, and my son was there. If you don't know your history, I employ every black man to know your history. Know your history. We miss out on so many things that miscredited to other people that black folks had done. The inventions like niggas get credit for the cotton gin when the black man invented, when the slaves invented, stuff like that. So that's why I say y'all go first because I didn't really know history. Of my black history, because my dad kept us shielded from that stuff. We lived in a mixed neighborhood, we had whites and Hispanics and Orientals all in the same neighborhood. So he made sure he moved to a mixed neighborhood, so that we would be protected from all of that. Now he thought he was doing a good thing, but it really hurt me because it shielded me too much. I didn't know what was going on.
One of the things that I did with Larry, it started when I want to say she was about 5, maybe 5. She was in that phase of noticing herself, and it started with her hair. And she wanted to know why her hair would not look like those who don't look like her.
That's right.
So it was in that moment for me. I got her a bunch of cartoon books or children books about kids who look like her that love their hair, right? So that was the beginning of it. And one of her best friends is white, which is a good thing. But at the same time, That's what she was comparing it to.
Right.
Why is my hair growing up, but hers is growing down? You know.
Yeah.
So that was the beginning of me introducing her to her heritage, her culture,
Right.
being a black woman, you know, in America. And what I love is that the things that my father have told me, because he did share stories with me about riding in the back of the bus, the KKK coming to Patterson Park saying if all of y'all aren't gone by 2 o'clock, you're dead. You know, he shared those things. I remember when I was about 12, he rolled me down North Avenue to show me how the MLK riot down North Avenue and how all this was thriving businesses, and that was all dilapidated buildings. And they're just now starting to rebuild that. So I did the same thing for her. I showed her that this is what this used to look like. You know, and I intentionally always bring something up about history, right? Even if it's just right here in Baltimore, or if it's the first black woman to do anything, right? I want her to know about it because I think that's important to her growth in knowing who she is and who she can be.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. So what advice would you all, anybody can answer this, would you give to black fathers that are navigating the challenges of raising children in America?
You're never going to meet everybody's expectations, so getting an understanding of what am I capable of doing, right? Where I'm at is really becoming self-aware of self. What am I capable of doing? And then how can I meet that standard and then evolve, right? So you continuously grow, because everybody, no matter what you do, somebody's going to say you're not doing enough, you're doing too much, right? So, and you can kind of get lost in the sauce and just feel like your own value being drowned out. So when you checking off, you're in touch with self, you ask yourself, you can hold yourself accountable and say, am I doing this?
Yeah.
Great. If I'm not, then I can say I measure myself on how good of a father I am based off the standards that I create. And then if I'm checking those things off, keep doing what I'm doing. And then I can be transparent. Oh, wow, you need to get, man, you need to get yourself you need to get it together. You're not doing, like, see the standard, because somebody's always creating a standard for you.
Yeah.
And like, you can get lost in that. You can, like, I'm not doing, this is relative. Doing enough is always, there's always something else to do. So you can put yourself in a state of lack if you're always comparing yourself to what's not happening. And you say, hey, these are my, I feel like just when everything, we have goals, you're not always going to meet your goals, but you should never miss your standard. So I say every man should create some standards for themselves and then check them off. Once you get that in the habit of that, then if you feel like, oh, hey, I'm going to do a little bit more than that, make a new standard. So I would say that.
I would say listen. I would say take time to listen to your children, because there's one thing that I could go back. I remember I was 19, and at this point I finally had said to my dad, because he asked me why do I always go to my mother to tell her things like about relationships and all that. You're always going out, why don't you come to me? And I said, because you don't listen to me. Every time I bring something to you, you immediately want to reprimand me, tell me what not to do, don't do that again. That's why I don't want to talk to you. That's why I go to mom. And that was pivotal in our father and son relationship. I was 19 when that happened. Now, only if that could have happened a little early, right? So that's one of the things that I would definitely say, like, listen to them. Learn what they like. It's gonna take some work though, because sometimes you ain't gonna feel like it. There's some things that look, there's some things about doing that one, like cartoons she wanted to watch, and I'd be like, man, I really want to do this, but you know what? 2 hours, they belong to you now. Let's watch this cartoon that I hate. I'm gonna do it for you.
But it meant everything to her.
It meant everything to her, that I was sitting there listening, paying attention, and being involved and loving what she loves. So that listening means a lot. Do it early.
And often.
Early and often.
I was going to say something similar, but basically staying connected. Because it's like there's ways we connect, and it may not be the way everyone else connects. And it was one of the things I had with my son was I had an issue where I couldn't really connect him like I wanted to. So I looked at one of my friends. He said, "Well, it's not about how it looked, how you want it to look, and just find another way to connect with him." Okay, because I'm living in one place, he's living in someone else's mom's. Like, And it's harder to drive back and forth 45 minutes, 30 minutes back and forth because, I work, so just find ways to connect, call them, just say what's up, how you doing, talk to them. My other son, who's my stepson, his father would make excuses why he don't have a relationship with his father, with his son. And I said, well, that's an excuse. Because like in other words, my son was always like that, at each other, like constant, and I couldn't figure out why. And I wrote about it and I said, well, I had to talk to him, what's going on? How do I get through this issue? What's going on? He always said, well, whenever I want to talk to you, I come into a conversation expecting to be something negative. Like, oh, okay, well, don't come to that conversation because it may not always be negative. Let's be open about it, that it could be a good conversation. And so most fathers don't want to me, what I've heard, I have at least 2 or 3 of them that tell me this, they start reaching out to their kids when they try and then their kid push away or push back or don't want to be bothered. And they get mad and blame on the child. Well, let's be honest here, you haven't really been there like you're supposed to, and if you were there, you're not really finding to connect and communicate with them. Yeah. You're talking at them, you're beating them down all the time. No one wants to be around all the time. Would you want your father always constantly beating you down with conversation, or you want actually to hear you? So find a way to connect with your child and start making excuses about why they're not actually. See, there's talking, then there's communicating. Right. That's what I learned. And communicating is not always in words.
Right.
Because one thing I told my sons, I said, the day you see me slap your mom, you can do it.
Wow.
They never saw it.
That's not smart.
The day you see me, smoking and drinking and cussing around the house, you will not be with your wife. You never saw it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I told him that, and then I showed him that, every time they always tell us this one time, we at the table eating dinner together. And one made me mad, and I said, I picked up, poke your eye down. I got so mad. No, I didn't. You can do that. I can do that. But and communicating is a two-way street. Sometimes when we talking to somebody, like I'm talking to my man over there, I'm listening for what I want to hear. Instead of what he's trying to say. See what I'm saying? So if I'm communicating properly, I want to what are you saying? So ask questions. What are you saying? Do you mean this right here? You know what I mean? Do you mean this right here? You know what I mean? Keep going until you find out what they mean. I want to understand you. Then I can relate to you.
Yep. That's it.
So that's how you pass on.
That's good. So last question.
Okay.
Come winding down here. What is it that you want America to know about Black fathers?
We ain't all bad. There are some good, strong Black men out here taking care of their families, doing what's right, making their sacrifices. We ain't all in the corner pushing drugs. We not all out there, pimping ourselves with women after women. So that's what I want people to know. And it starts with something you said about knowing yourself. You got to know. I want people to know that a real man doesn't need to be identified by the stereotype about society. You know yourself. You know who you are. You can be that individual that does. In other words, when I was a younger, peer pressure was never a thing with me. Because I knew it. I said, if I don't want to do it, I ain't even doing it. That's the bottom line. So don't let peer pressure. We're not all bad. We're not all violent. Want to smack women around, and people around carrying on. I want people to know that there are some strong Black men out here raising their families the right way.
Anybody else?
I would say that it's good to hold us to accountable, right? But also give us grace. Right? I think that there's no place for grace. I think that there's a high level of expectation, high level of accountability, but very little grace. So I would say, see yourself in that situation and give some grace.
I would want to point out that the statistics are incorrect. You know, let's go there.
Yeah.
You know, the statistics of what black fathers are based on the media constructs of what you have perpetuated black fathers to be or not be. Right? So don't believe all of that because the greater good is being done around that, and that ain't on TV.
Right.
Right.
Well, it is right here.
Yes, yes, that's good stuff. Wow. Wow. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This was my vision for this all along, and I just feel so blessed to have been sitting here with all of you and having this conversation. And I know that it's going to be so impactful to our viewing audience. And so just thank you for being here today. Thank you for saying yes.
And then you gave us a platform.
Yes.
Amen.
You gave us a platform to change the narrative. So we can't thank you enough for that.
And you gave most of us our yes.
And it inspired me to go deeper because, you know, what changed since last time we actually talked was I went back to school.
Oh.
I'm nearly 7 years old. Nearly 7 years old, I'll go back to school to get my BA. So, hey,
Wow.
we can do this.
Wow, this is good. Thank you again. And thank you so much to our viewing audience for joining us for another segment of Write the Book TV. If you're someone who's thinking about writing a book or you know someone else who should write a book, tell them to head on over to www.writethebooktv.com and join us over there. We hope you'll join us right back here again next week. Thank you for joining us. Take care.